What's up, guys? Alex Cook here of the Visualist Guide. Thank you for tuning in. Today we're going to talk about Quasar Science's rechargeable lithium-ion lights, and we're going to just dive right in, see how these guys hold up, and do a giveaway. Let's go. So like I said, we're just going to dive right on in to the review of these in this giveaway as well. And as you can see here, we'll start with the packaging. They're small, so they have them nicely packaged. They have these labels just to let you know what's inside them, as well as the information about each light that comes with it. Here is an example of the smallest one, which is also what we'll be giving away at the end here. And you can see that they really do make sure that it is packaged very safely. There's nice foam padding all around the entire light. And when you pull that cover off, you'll see the first thing you're going to notice is this instruction card that just lets you know everything about how to operate it. It'll also come with a USB brick and power cable to recharge the light. And then of course the light itself, which is just small, compact, and also has that clear protective wrapping around the front to keep it safe from scratches. You'll see it also has this reset and kill button if you want to reset it to its factory settings, or the kill button for if it's going on an airplane, you don't want it to turn on by accident. And then of course over on that other side, you saw the plug-in as well as the main button and power levels. And then this sticker basically tells you everything. It also comes with these magnets on the back, which is incredibly useful. I'll show you a little bit more about that later. And back to this power button, you can see the different cycles. If you just press it once, it will simply light up and let you know the battery level. If you press and hold, it goes from your daylight balance to your tungsten balance, and you can go back again. If you just tap, it'll go down in increments until it's off, or if you just double press, it'll turn it back off. The mounting on this is a little bit different and something to keep in mind, as quarter 20 mount does not work. It takes 3/8, which actually makes sense when you really think about it. But once you know that and you have an adapter that can take that, the mounting is endless. The possibilities on this, you can really do just about anything you want to do, from just mounting it to a light stand, or even just getting something like one of these clamps and just clamping the light right onto that. Because it's such a small and lightweight light, you can really do just about anything with this anywhere. And remember the magnets I was talking about? Yeah, they're awesome. You can put it anywhere, any metal surface, and it will easily hold itself up. Now let's just do a real quick real-world test here. This is again with the single light. This is at 100%. This is now back down to 75%. Don't mind me looking bored as hell here. This is brought down to 50%. Remember, I have no diffusion panels or anything else that's going on in this room. This is down to 25%. It still looks good despite the camera starting to bring noise into this image. And this is 10%. And if you look at the difference between 10 and 100, you can really see that this does give you quite a bit of range. Another thing to keep in mind is that you can gel these lights, and because they're LEDs and they don't get too hot, you can use just standard cellophane from a store like Hobby Lobby, and it'll still work perfectly fine. It won't burn, it won't become a risk. So that's great to know. Alright, let's jump into another real-world scenario. I'm going to show you just in my basement here where my drums are, a 3-light setup, and show you what you can do with this. So the very first thing I'm going to do is show you what it's like with nothing on in here. And then this is with the shop lights, just your standard crappy shop lights. This is with one light on, a second light on, so you have a key to the right, a fill to the left, and then another light. That one is set to daylight balance in the background. And you can see here as I'm playing, this is pretty much how it looks ungraded. And then if I do a real quick grade, this is what it looks like. And you can see how well these lights really give off a nice effect. Here I'm going to use this, which I'm not really going to talk about in this video. It does a great job adding kind of this on-the-spot fog for interiors, and kind of show you a little bit what that looks like. Plus, because not all of you are using smaller cameras and some of you are using higher end cameras, I'm going to show you what this footage looks like on my red Scarlet. As you can see here, this is ungraded, straight off the camera. With that fog, it looks absolutely fantastic. Really nice lighting. And then here you see a side-by-side without fog, just to kind of show you the difference of how that fog really does help an image look. And here I'm just trying to show a moody, cinematic, almost commercial style look, just so you guys can see the different types of visuals that you can capture with just these lights. That has a light at the top and a light at the bottom, both set to daylight. And then here, there's one in the window and at the bottom right set to daylight, with one very soft as a fill almost behind the camera set to tungsten. And you can just see how gorgeous this makes a scene look with just those 3 lights and nothing else. It's really impressive, and these lights really did blow me away with a scene like this. So there you go, guys. Yeah, I think these lights are absolutely fantastic. They exceeded my expectations. I knew they were going to be great because they're Quasar Science, fantastic company, and they make outstanding lighting. But you know, with these little battery operated guys, you know, they have 3 different sizes. This is the medium, this one being the large, and there's of course the smaller one. I thought, you know, okay, like with the drum scene, for example, I thought, okay, they're probably gonna work decently well. You know, they'll probably provide a decent amount of light, but I may have to bring up the shadows in post and kind of just brighten up the shot. And what I found is that just wasn't the case, that these are perfectly enough. So if you're doing a smaller scene, like a, you know, just a talking head, or obviously something like that where, you know, it's just surrounding a smaller object, a smaller scene. We just had, you know, the 3 lights set up, you know, 3 light stands. I just popped them on, and you kind of set your brightness, you set your temperature, and that's it. I, you know, was usually running between 50 to 10% brightness. I rarely was actually pumping these up to 100%, just because they are so dang bright. In a previous video, I had kind of reviewed these IKEA Spanced lights. I was saying, you know, how are they going to compare to Quasar? Are they going to kind of kill the Quasar brand? You know, you saw that they obviously don't. They're great lights, but these offer so much more. if you really want to get professional lighting, is easy to work with, it's easy to control, change things right on the fly, these are the ones to go with. Another thing to kind of add on to this is when I originally plugged these in to charge. A couple things to know. One, it takes a while. These have a lot of battery in them, actually more than I thought. So the good news is they will last a very long time. All the testing I did, you know, I was running these lights constantly non-stop, and you know, if I still press this, it's still gonna tell you it's at a full charge, even after using these lights like all day. So that's one thing. The battery is fantastic on these. No idea how long they last, but I can tell you it's hours and hours because just based off my testing. That being said, something that you do want to keep in mind is that you need to use the charger that comes with these when you unbox it. These chargers, you get this brick, and it looks like a typical USB brick. I actually tried with a different cable, the same little bricks that we had bought for the Spance lights, which are just your typical, almost like phone charger bricks. They will not work. It doesn't feed enough power to the battery here to charge this. So something to keep in mind there is that you need to use the charger that comes with this light in order to charge it. So another thing is you want to really make sure that you charge these overnight, because this doesn't power the light. This only will charge the battery to the light. So that was something that, you know, I kind of learned just working with this, that you really need to make sure you charge these lights like the night before your job, and they should last the whole duration of your job with the battery, but you cannot just plug into the wall and power them that way. So keep that in mind when using these lights, is, you know, just that you are gonna have to run off the battery that's built in. And I do kind of see that as a little bit of a negative. I kind of wish that they had made it so that, you know, if it's plugged in, it's just gonna feed right off of, you know, that power, and if it unplugs, it'll automatically know to run off the battery. I think it's a little funky that it has to run off the battery even if it's plugged in, but again, it's not really that much of a negative when you consider the battery they put in this. You're really not gonna run out of power, and if you do, it's gonna be such a long duration from the time you start filming or start shooting that you're gonna have a break somewhere in that period, and within that break you just would plug this back in to charge again. So I don't think it's that much of a problem just because of how big they went with the battery, but that would be something, you know, if they release a newer version, I'd be interested in seeing them kind of make it so that it knows to switch from, you know, just the power coming through the cable, and if it's not plugged in, to run power off the battery. The other thing to mention about these lights is this end. Incredibly awesome. I think it's fantastic that they have this, and the lights are light enough that you can mount that. You know, you saw it in the video. Even this light, which, you know, it's got some weight to it, but it's still light enough that you can mount it onto here. My only negative to that is that it's not 1/4-20, this is 3/8. So keep that in mind. You know, if you're using like a smaller, maybe lower end light stand, they're usually only 1/4-20, I believe. Sometimes, like my light stands, you'll be able to unscrew it and flip that top piece between 3/8 and 1/4-20. But if you don't have that, that's something to keep in mind. If you have a tripod stand or just a regular light stand, while I say that's a negative, again, I see the reason behind it. This needs to have a very solid connection. So I can see why they would go with 3/8 rather than 1/4-20. They want to make sure this isn't going to fall. It's not going to break. You don't want this mount to break. You don't want your stand to break. 3/8 is going to be obviously a lot more solid, heavier duty of a mount rather than going with 1/4-20. So again, if they had thrown like a little 1/4-20 right here, that might have been nice. Like I said, I can understand completely after using these why they would go with 3/8 and not 1/4-20. Yeah, I think these guys are freaking fantastic. I love them, just the build and how well you can use them. Just the controls from, just simply pushing the button to dim it or holding it in to change from daylight balance to tungsten. The magnets on the backside are really nice. I was able to use that today, and that was a huge help because you're usually near a lot of things that have metal on them, and sometimes it's just easy to slap it up on something rather than to try to mount it or tape it onto something or clamp it onto something. If all you need to do is just slap it on something that's metal, then why wouldn't you? So I think that was a really intelligent design and intelligent addition to the lights. I would give these an A+, hands down. Comparing them to the Spance lights, they're just different uses. Is it saying Spance lights are no good at this point? Absolutely not. I think those lights are fantastic too, and I think they have a lot of different uses. And it just depends on if you want a very soft, round light that just is a very dim, tungsten color glow, or like these, you can use them as practicals, as fills, as keys. You can go from daylight to tungsten, and again, the Spance lights are not battery powered. There's no cable. This is everything. It's all about portability. It's all about just ease of use. If you're out in the middle of the woods and you're doing a photo shoot and you need some light, or you're filming something, you want some cool practicals coming out behind the trees or whatever, these are the lights to go with because they're just not going to let you down. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'm very interested to hear your thoughts on these lights. If you have used them, how you've used them, just your overall thoughts as well. Now, as you know, this is also a giveaway. You will get one of these smaller ones, and I'm going to show you guys very quickly again. You'll just open it up, you'll have your information card, and then you'll have your cable, your brick to charge it, and your light. Now this one is very tiny. Again, it still has 3/8, it still has magnets. It still has your battery readout. Everything on this the same as the other two. I think these would be fantastic for mounting to the top of a camera. You can hide these in some really unique little locations. This is a pretty valuable item. Definitely something that you should have. I mean, you can toss it in your pocket. You can toss it in your bag. It's so tiny. Battery lasts forever. The way that we're gonna do the competition this time, a little bit different than last time. If you go to my Instagram @AlexCookCreative, hit the follow button. The newest picture I want you to comment on, and I want you to tell me in it just 1 or 2 sentences why you love being a filmmaker or a photographer, what your goals are, whatever, what you're trying to achieve, who you're trying to become, anything that kind of tells me about you and why a light like this would be incredibly beneficial to what you're doing. Make sure you're following. You have to be a follower, and I will just kind of get all that information, and I will have a computer kind of just randomly pick a person, and that person will get one of these shipped to you absolutely for free. I hope you liked this video. I hope you were able to kind of get something out of it. Huge thank you to Quasar Science for shipping these out for us to test and to give away. Absolutely fantastic guys. They're just a blast to talk to. Very easily accessible. Just great guys with great equipment, and I really have nothing negative to say about them. So give them a follow, check out their equipment. They have tons of lighting for different uses that do different things. They're always progressing, always coming out with really cool stuff. I knew they'd be good, but I didn't know they were going to be incredibly amazing like they are. So 2 thumbs up from me. Hit subscribe, hit the little bell button, give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Comment in the comment section. I'll have a new video coming out kind of soon after this one. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.